on Facebook, and also with some friends and clients that I've been working with, there was a lot of talk about loneliness. Loneliness in their journey, loneliness in their relationships. Just kind of a general feelings of being alone. And one of my friends actually made a post that, you know, if anybody else is feeling alone, you know, you can reach out to her. Same goes for me. If you're ever feeling alone, I'm always here. And I'm going to tell you two of the more depressive times that I've dealt with loneliness. Personally, I'm an INFJ, and I know a lot of my friends are. A lot of empaths are actually INFJs, and technically they are omniverts or ambiverts, which means they're both introverts and extroverts, but more leaning towards the introverted side than the extroverted side, or what I like to call adaptable extrovertism, to kind of explain that. So I find that those who are more introverted do suffer with a lot of feelings of loneliness. And you know, there's times where, hi Rihanna, where you know you want to be alone and you want your solitude, and then there's other times where you know you want companionship or to feel a connection, but the people who you're seeking it from aren't giving it to you, or perhaps you're not asking it for yourself, because people aren't mind readers. And that's one of the biggest things that I can share as a tip, is tell your support system what you need. Everybody has at least one or two people that they confide in, and if not, come confide in me. Everything will be kept confidential, but you usually have at least one or two people that you do confide in, and my biggest suggestion would be tell those people what you need, because if you need something from someone and you tell them directly and you phrase it in I language, they're going to be more receptive to filling that need for you, opposed to what a lot of introverts will do, and women especially, is we tend to use negativity, whining, complaining, nagging, but these negative emotions that we're giving off ends up pushing the people that we love farther away, which just feeds our own loneliness, which, you know, starts that cycle again. Another big thing that I shared with my clients this week and with some friends was that you don't need to be afraid of the loneliness. Sometimes your fears or those negative feelings are actually trying to show you something or teach you something about yourself that you're not acknowledging on some level. So take time to sit with that feeling of loneliness, because there is something that special that comes out of, you know, solitude and introspection. I mean, traditionally you'll see like monks or gurus who will go off in the wilderness or whatever, and they'll fast and meditate, and they're alone for this period of time, but they end up having, you know, some kind of an enlightening experience. So it's definitely not a bad thing to allow yourself to sit with that loneliness sometimes, because if you can get past that initial fear and insecurity of feeling alone in the world or in your situation, then, and you're allowing yourself to ask questions like, why am I feeling like this? And, you know, asking additional questions to yourself, you can often find that Hey Lauren, you can often find that the reason for your loneliness isn't loneliness at all, and it's actually something much deeper. And that's actually one thing that personally I like to use the tarot for, is intuitive kind of reading. Because how I like to explain it is that it kind of works like using an ink blot. So you can ask yourself a question and your brain will kind of find those connections and those pieces for you, and you'll be able to ascertain what maybe the bigger issue is, or get to the root of the problem. I find that often loneliness it's a surface feeling. There's usually a lot more underneath of it, or a need that's not being met that's related to the loneliness, but you kind of have to pursue that path for yourself and ask yourself those questions. Feelings of being alone and insecurity are actually tied to the root chakra, which is, you know, your sense of identity and your sense of belonging. So if you are feeling those feelings and you aren't able to ascertain the root cause by asking questions, something easy you can do is do some kind of root chakra cleanse or balancing or meditation of some kind. Wear red, eat red foods, things like that. So the 2 times that I dealt with loneliness to an almost depressive state, the first one was when I moved here to the United States, because I left all of my friends and all of my family, and I moved here to the United States to, well, originally to just visit my boyfriend, but we ended up getting engaged and married. So I was completely displaced. I had no friends. I had no way of really communicating with the outside world because my cell phone had been turned off because of the international fees and whatnot. And it was really hard because a lot of my friends, you know, they felt abandoned. My sister, she felt abandoned. She was very angry with me. So I was dealing with these feelings of being alone, and yes, I was happy in my new relationship, my marriage, and finding out I was pregnant and whatever, but I was alone, and I had these endless hours during the day where I had nothing to do, and I was literally alone. I mean, my in-laws speak Spanish, so I mean, I couldn't communicate with them, so the only person I was really interacting with, and I mean, most of my time now, I'm only really communicating with my husband. I barely see another English-speaking adult ever. So that was a really hard time for me when I got here, because I had no support system really, because my friends back home, they felt abandoned and they were angry at me, so they stopped speaking to me, and I didn't have any way to really make friends here. I did have a few friends at that time, but you know, they didn't really stick around. They were a little bit younger than me, so they were still in school, and they didn't really want to hang out with somebody who was newly married because it made them feel bad. So no matter what I tried, I was constantly alone, and I don't even know how I got myself out of that rut, to be honest, because throughout my entire pregnancy I was alone. I didn't have a support system. I didn't have anybody to throw me a baby shower, and it just felt like it kept getting worse. And then, you know, when you become a mother, it gets even harder because you're only interacting with your children. So you crave that adult, you know, communication and interaction. And as, you know, a very young mom and a new wife, I wasn't getting the outside support that I so desperately desired. And then, and even up until probably last year, I was dealing with a lot of feelings regarding, you know, being at home, being alone, and not having a way to really have any friends. And the one local friend that we did end up having a play date, she immediately deleted me after the play date and never spoke to me again. She completely ghosted. So I felt really abandoned, and that was hard. And then we were having a birthday party for my son, his 3rd birthday, but our first birthday for him, and nobody RSVP'd. Like, we invited a bunch of local people, like, nobody was really showing interest. Thankfully, you know, 2 of our more closer friends actually did come, and we had a wonderful time, but it was really rough to be denied, you know, friendship. So that was really hard to get around. But I found that the more that I appreciated myself and spending time with myself, the better I felt about the other friendships that I did have with friends on Facebook, because I do have a lot of very supportive friends, and I've actually learned to lean on them more. And even if it's just, you know, stupid little things about our day, or, you know, superficial nothing conversation just to fill the void, it helped get over those feelings of being alone. So the other big time that I felt alone, that was this past year when I left the cult, because all of the friends and my family literally abandoned me. They all blocked and deleted me off of social media, and they really showed their true colors about what kind of friends they were, because a lot of them were telling lies behind my back. They didn't think I would know, but my parents would come back to me and they say, oh, you know, people are saying this about you, and I'm like, well, that's not true. I mean, it's true in another sense.
Hey.
Hi, sweetheart.
Hey, Mommy.
What you doing?
I'm going to see
Okay.
What?
You want to say hello to our friends?
Hello, friends.
Okay.
The game is.
Oh, okay. Can you go back to Daddy, please?
Oh, so.
Oh, careful.
It hurts.
Okay, baby. Can you go?
Okay.
Are you going to come sit?
Okay. Mommy, take a picture of you.
Honestly, if it weren't for him,
One,
I would feel a lot more alone than I do. Okay.
One.
Okay, thank you.
Good job.
Let me just...
Okay, I want to do yoga.
You want to do yoga? Okay, you do yoga. Oh, wow, good job. All right, so when I left the cult, I lost all of my friends and family, and, you know, losing all the people that you grew up with and that have known you the longest.
Mommy.
Okay, hold on. I gotta move.
Mommy, look at you.
Okay, thank you. Come on. Let's go see Daddy. Yeah, so being abandoned by, you know, literally your parents, your sister, and all of the friends that you grew up with, it's something else. There's no words for it. Like, the level of loneliness that made me feel, and among other feelings, was just ridiculous. But having those people be removed from my life actually allowed me time to reevaluate myself, who I was, who I wanted to be, what I wanted for my life. So that's why I said, you know, it's not always a bad thing to sit with these feelings of loneliness and allow yourself some time to introspect, because, sorry, I'm winded from chasing him. Because, you know, you're able to see how people are, and yeah, you really get to see who stands by you and who doesn't in your times of loneliness, because the people who truly love you for all that you are will stand by you, and those are the people who will be your support system for the rest of your life, versus the people who appear to be, supportive and maybe have been in your life since you were childhood, but, at some point they show their true colors, and, it could be a comment or whatever else. Like one of my friends, she was saying that she was trying to see who was going to come see the baby at the hospital when she gives birth next week. And one of her friends was saying, oh, well, I want to be there, but not if so-and-so is there. Friends like that are the ones who really do make you feel alone, because you want to feel supported, you want to feel loved, and you want the people who love and support you to, focus on you when the focus needs to be on you, and not worry about, those other people. And I felt really bad for her to hear that, because I know how that feels to have that kind of abandonment where, someone on the surface may seem like a friend, but, one negative comment from them and you really get to see who they are on a deeper level. So that's really why I wasn't scared to sit with that loneliness and actually take that time for myself to evaluate, the kind of friends that I did want and what I wanted for my life, and how I would put myself out there. So that's really how loneliness has had an impact on me and has changed my life. So yeah. So the biggest thing I can say is lean on your support system. If you don't have a support system, or you don't think you have a support system, I'm here. Feel free to reach out to me anytime, because I know what those feelings are like and how they feel deep down. And then the other thing is, don't be afraid to sit with those feelings. Take some time to ask yourself some questions about why you're feeling those feelings. So I hope this helped somebody, and I'll re-edit it for everybody else later. Good night.